Hello, Johnny London here once again. Now, I know I always say I've got something a bit different for you, but today I definitely have. Meet this, my old trusty Les Paul copy. Now, I've had this dear old thing for a number of years. I got it off a friend of mine. I was doing a little removal job for them with my van, and they were going to pay me 50 quid, and I said, "Oh, what's that guitar you've got there?" And they said, "Well, you can have that instead if you like." So I did. It was a bit kicked around and it had various dings and scuffs and scratches on the body, something you can still see there. I'm still working on them. I've been filling them with black nail polish over the years and sanding them, and bringing it up as nice as I could. Replaced a few of those knobs as well, but the main problem now is the action. I don't know if you can see that. It's probably not coming out on the camera, but the action's a bit high and the strings buzz, and it's just sort of not that great to play. So anyway, I thought what I'll do today is I'm gonna have a go at refretting it. I watch a load of videos online about people refretting guitars. It looks a bit complicated, to be honest, but I have ordered a bunch of tools, and now, well, I think I'm ready to have a crack at it. So here's my collection of tools. I've got a fret ruler on the left for making sure that the neck's dead straight. I've got a couple of fret files there to try. The yellow handled things are clippers for trimming the frets down to size. The red things are fret pullers for pulling the old frets out. I've also got a hammer, which I expect I'll be using quite a bit of. What else is there? Well, we've got radius gauges, nut files, fret protector things, feeler gauges, a little general tool for undoing nuts and what have you, lots of very fine grades of emery paper. And over here I've actually sort of spent decent money. Most of it came from Temu, but not this. This is like the important thing. That's a deadly straight edge for actually sort of sanding the frets level, and I didn't want to skimp on that one. I've also got a packet of replacement frets and my trusty fret rocker. I'll be needing that. I begin by taking the old strings off. Yes, you can cut them, but I prefer not to. All done. Right, now I have already had a little go with these last night just to make sure I could use them, and I did manage to pull out one of the frets already, and that's like one of the worst ones. It's all sort of bent and completely knackered. So all I've got to do now is repeat that process across all the other frets. So wish me luck. What I don't want to do is rip them out quickly and take any of the wood with me. Don't want to damage the fretboard, so I don't know how easy that is to do, but I have seen fretboards that look like they've been damaged like that, so I'm going to tread pretty carefully for now. So what I've found is it works best if I come at them from the edges of the frets, and one or two of them where they're like really completely pressed into the fretboard, these sort of struggle with, and I've just sort of used a Stanley blade just to get me that first sort of 1/10 of a millimetre lift on the fret so that these can get in. These were only 6 quid, not 60 quid, so that's probably why. But that little bit of difference, look, and out they come. Just had quite a difficult one here, but I just managed to finagle him out, and I think we're going to be okay. There he goes. Last one. That's it. There you go. That's looking better. Well, sort of. Well, what I've just done there, I've just undone the truss rod cover, and I need to now adjust that truss rod until the neck is completely and totally flat, because there's no point doing anything to it otherwise. Well, the thing with this fretboard, I found once I was turning the Allen key the correct way, I've got it as flat as I can. There's a slight dip there when everything else is straight, and if I get everything else, well, get that so there's no dip there, then it's bowed back slightly. So it's just how the fretboard is. So I've got it as near sort of compromise of both ones that I can, and I'm just going to sort of give that fretboard a sand and a clean up now, because it's a bit scuzzy. Not really what this is for, but you can see what I mean about that sort of dip in the wood there. Everything else is sanding a little bit, and that's not. So I'll keep going for a bit and see what happens. I've been checking this neck as I go because it's settled down as I've worked, and I've had to make a couple of adjustments. But do you know what? I've managed to get rid of that sort of warp in the fretboard, and I can see no daylight under anything, so I think we're there. I'll go over it with the finer side of this, and then we can move on. Not ideal, this setup, but I think we're there. Frets all came pre-cut, and they're in slightly different lengths. I'm not sure if they're in individual lengths or just maybe half a dozen different lengths, but anyway, I've spaced them out in order of length as best I could. Right, well, I've hit a problem for today. The fret wire I've got isn't radiused enough, it's not curved enough, so I'm tapping it in the middle and it's sticking up at the ends. That's no good. If anything, you want to go a little bit the other way, maybe have a little bit more to tap down in the middle. So I've been using my radius gauges, and it seems that 9.5 or 10 would be the ones to have. Probably go for the 9.5, and that'll just be that little bit sort of proud in the middle to tap down. So I think I'm stuck for the moment. I don't think I can bend these, so it probably means I have to order some more. Today I begin by oiling up the fretboard. It's dry and thirsty, and this will help to protect it. I've had a play around with the frets that I have, with varied results. So a few days has passed, and I've been watching a few more YouTube videos about how to do this procedure, and I've also been onto my friends at Temu, or Temu, whatever it's called, and I've acquired a few more bits and pieces. I've got this, which is actually the thing I should have had to be sanding the profile of the fretboard correctly. I've got another use I want that for actually, but I did sort of run it along the fretboard and I'm not seeing any problems, so I'm not going to bother redoing the fretboard. That's fine as it is. And I bought this, which is a thing for filing off the ends of the frets once I get that far. And also bought this as well. Thought I'd treat myself to a bit of luxury and have something proper to rest the neck of the guitar on, although I might be taking the neck off in due course to work on it, but we'll see. So anyway, I've got a few more bits and a bit more information, and I'm going to crack on a little bit further with the next stage, hopefully get some frets in. I couldn't get the right frets of the right radius, so I made do with the ones I've got, and what I did, I very carefully worked my way along like this, just applying a little bit of pressure, holding them with the fret trimmers, and subsequently I'll check them with my radius gauges and make sure I've now got the required radius. It won't be absolutely perfect, but by the time it's tapped in and fret leveled, it should be okay. Other than that, the only problem I've really got is some of these frets didn't go in as tightly as they should. I've already pre-pulled that one out to show you, but if you imagine, that will go in back in there quite easily like that. And so I'm going to be using some glue, which I've seen an awful lot of people doing. It's time to take the neck off, I think. The new rest comes into play, and so does this cat's whisker nozzle. Not going too bad so far. I press on. Ow! Getting this. Oh no, my finger's stuck. Only kidding. I might have been joking, but I am getting in a bit of a mess. Everything's sticking to me. Bloody. Right, so what have I achieved? Well, I knocked all those frets in pretty quickly because I didn't want the glue to set first, and what I've done is I've made this. I've used that curved radius block thing as a profile to keep the frets clamped, and I put lots and lots of protection around everything, and I've clamped it all up. So we'll leave that for a day, and then I'll be able to check with my feeler gauges, see if there's any gaps under any of them. We'll see if they're all properly fixed and what have you, and we'll take it from there. The one thing I will say, that blooming super glue, those little thin nozzles are a great idea, but my goodness, once you start to get it to come out, you can't get it to stop. I got it everywhere. But anyway, this is done, so no harm to the fretboard or anything. I did make one or two slight spillages, but I've already oiled the fretboard copiously, and I think that's sort of protecting it, so we should be okay. Anyway, we'll leave it there for today, and I'll come back to you when I unclamp all this. And here we are. I'm quite keen to see how it's turned out. And you know what? That's not too bad. I clipped the ends of the frets off before getting back to my favourite job of fixing the frets in. Despite my previous experience, I fare no better today. managing to stick myself to everything in sight. But I press on regardless. There's less frets on this half of the neck.
Oh, keep getting bloody hands stuck together.
And thankfully, I'm soon done. Let's get it clamped up. See you next time.